million is never changing. You can see at the top of the letter here, let me pass this around. He says the meeting held at General Headquarters. But before it was Foster's Hall, the 44th and State, it was at 3140 Indiana. And the times are different. He changed it here when they started meeting at Forces Hall. After Forces Hall, which is on 44th and State, Neil Eder moved into his apartment at 3716 Prairie on the second floor. And I've been in that building. Before I joined the company, didn't know it. A friend of mine, Spurlock, moved there, and he asked me to help him move. There's something funny about this place. He said, yeah, it's old. The building's been here like forever. And this was like 76, 77. Not knowing later on I was in the building and Neil Eder lived there. And in fact, he moved in his same apartment. We want to get that off. This is a copy of the warning that you read in every meeting. Warning from the prophet. Now, you may see other unauthorized groups read some parts of this, but this is not the entire warning, as they call it, proclamation. The entire warning entails all of this. Now, when I came to the temple in 1978, I joined an unauthorized temple in 1977 district. And we only had a piece of the warning. And it starts off by hereby inform all members that they can split again all radical agitated speeches. They only had a piece of it. Here, at temple number 1, we have the entire thing. This happens to be an old letter, and the date on here is, March 11, 1932. You can see the kind of stamps they used there. But some of the stamps they never used, so we collected them in an envelope. And when we get a chance, we'll see if we can turn them in. Just money. Use for them. I'm going to be jumping around because some of these things from the archives are not in order. And you can ask questions if you want. You can stop and ask questions. It's the same warning. Same all that we read every meeting. Here is this is written to Neil Eder's granddaughter, not by Mary, Bailey Edel's mother. It was written October 23rd, 1931. She was very, very nice. Good friends to my family, to my wife and children. Very sympathetic. I think this is a personal letter. Read it. This will mean something to her. This is from her aunt, Julia R. Wilson. Personal letter. I'm going to read it because it would be relative to what was going on in 1931. It's to her aunt, Sister Bailey Eder. Sister Bailey Eder, her first name is Rosa. And she's the daughter of Sister Bailey Eder, but not the daughter of the female. I'm going to ask you all when we pass things around not to take pictures of nothing. With that, when we take a picture. Film this, don't take any pictures. Dear Rose, I received your letter. This is coming from Montgomery, Alabama. And was exceedingly glad to hear from you. Give my trust, regard to them all. Brother Banks is getting along very well, and also Sister Pat. Listen, Rose, Pastor got a letter from Leola. And she said that she was going to Chicago. Short. want to know, Leola was a piece of work. That was their family who got in a lot of trouble. She was like a spinster. You want to know how much it takes to pay my taxes at the court house. It costs $2.96. Last year, the city taxes cost me $1.73. And that was why I asked you all to help me, because I have almost washed myself to death trying to pay them, give my best regards to Aunt Mary when you see her. I wanted Aunt Mary to give word to Brother Williams so he can help me. Best regard to the send love to all. Now I have no more to say, so pray for me, and I'll keep on praying for you. I'm glad to hear that you always. Is this supposed to be government? No, I can't make out what that is. Some of this stuff you got to read over and over again, because some of them they couldn't spell. Some of them wrote so funny. Me, I had to get used to reading this. The taxes were $2.96. $1.07. In 1931, the country was in the depth of depression. No money. And most of these letters you hear them writing for money. They wanted money badly. That's why I read that to reflect what's going on. And then she was writing from Montgomery, Alabama, which is where Millie was from, Sister Millie. And this is dated on June 24th, 1931. This is from Brother Emilier. And he writes, Islam to governors and heads of all temples in honor of our divine prophet, and the date of his passing, which was the 20th day of July, 1929. And in obedience to his divine words, and he said in his promise, those that pay their divine respect to me and to the movement will be remembered. Therefore, in honor of him and the cause for which he came to represent, the Grand Body is calling attention to all local bodies to show him your divine respect on that day in honor of our God Allah, who we praise for his infinite mercy shown us by sending to us this Prince of Peace, our Redeemer, in the greatest crisis of all our times. Love to all, and Islam peace for the Emilier Supreme Grand Chief. What do you hear? Well, what's happened is, and then he put the seal. What's happened is that he's saying that Temple Number 1, the Grand Body, has decided to make July 20th Memorial Day. So July 20th, not only here, but he's saying that subordinate temples must have a service to remember the prophet. And so even today, home office, as you all know, every July 20th, no matter what day it falls on, we have the prophet's memorial service. And what happens in that service is that there are members, even children, who practice to read something, come up and give a testimony from the Quran and talk about how the prophet helped them in their lives. And then we sing, it's a lot of singing. And everyone comes to say something. Well, I'm going to read verse 2, and I want to say, if it wasn't for the prophet, I don't know where would I be. So at the hour of 10:10, which is the hour that he passed, if you check the deficit, it's 10:10. That is the hour. So at about 5 minutes before 10:10, everybody stops and we stand up and hold 7, and we stand in silence for what, 5 to 10 minutes. And at the end of the 10 minutes of silence is when we say the closing prayer, and that's it. This is a custom that we have started since 1931, June the 24th, 1931. And on that day, most of the sisters, or all the sisters, wear all white. They wear all white. The brothers come dressed. I can tell you that in one memorial service that I went to, the heaters were so hot, you could see nothing but light in the room. And the white dress that they were wearing, it was like super, super white. And everybody who was at that memorial, because song after song was sung, when the prophet found me, every song you could think of was singing. We were singing and rocking to the music. I mean, to the voices of each other. And it was just like the walls were going up. Boom, boom, boom. So that, also, during that time when you're meditating before you do the closing prayer, is when most of us start praying for our loved ones who need it, people we know that's ill and not well, for situations.
Most every person of thinking age thinks about something. Sometimes these thoughts are good, and far too often they are evil. Some people spend hours and days to do evil unto their neighbors. This is especially true of a number of members of the Moorish organization, and they got that blanked out there, right here. And they got that blanked out. There are instances where some of these members make it a practice to say all manner of evil against other fellow members without knowing what they are gossiping about at all. How these types of members can claim they are believers in the principles of love, truth, deed, freedom, and justice is beyond the reason of any sane person. Check up an investigation of the present-day lives of talebearers will reveal that all human beings who ought to spend their time in trying to better their own lives, their own condition, and their family, talebearers and gospels need to do so much more than any other human being in the community. 9 times out of 9, it will be found that talebearers, liars, gossipers, and scandalmongers are envious and jealous of those people whom they are constantly knocking. 9 times out of 9, it will be found that lying and gossiping people are ungrateful. They would, if they could, destroy the very people who are working most for the interest and the welfare of the Moorish movement. They themselves have neither the knowledge or vision to do anything which requires training and experience, but always they proceed to cherish a bitter, revengeful hatred against those in the Moorish movement who have training and experience. Lying and gossiping people always take offense at trifles.
That's right.
We know people like that, don't we?
Yeah.
A lot of people like that.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Everybody, I'm sure, is familiar with the letter April 15, 1931. Katie Scott Hill is the time of Arkansas. Islam Sister Katie Scott Hill. My dear sister, I received your letter a few minutes ago. I was indeed glad to hear from you and Temple number 9. This Temple number 9. I look at Temple 18. So I'm pleased to know that you all have decided to return to the path of love again and to operate once again under the divine principles: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Well, yes, it is hard to have those who are supposed to be with you fighting you. But that must be for a while, till our Redeemer returns. Then he will gather up the elect to himself for that mighty day of separation. Sister Skyel, whenever you send in your report, again, always send the names of those who paid the money, so they may receive credit for the payment. As an account is being kept in all business transactions of all the temples, as it must go down in the history of the Moorish Science Temple of America, that the world may see what we did in those days. Now I'm asking you in obedience to our prophet to please send me the names of those that paid on this time, trusting you will continue to prosper under the guiding of the prophet. I hope it to remain your brother this morning, and the great principles, from the peace and love to all the good mothers. Apparently she was sending money in with no names on it. So the instructions that all the heads of the temples have is that you must send the names. Who keeps the books here? You already do that. So these forms that we have, that you have, you know, April 15, 1931. And Katie Scott Hill is the time of Arkansas. Islam Sister Katie Scott Hill. My dear sister, I received your letter a few minutes ago. I was indeed glad to hear from you and Temple number 9. This Temple number 18. So I'm pleased to know that you all have decided to return to the path of love again and to operate once again under the divine principles: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Well, yes, it is hard to have those who are supposed to be with you fighting you. But that must be for a while, till our Redeemer returns. Then he will gather up the elect to himself for that mighty day of separation. Sister Skyel, whenever you send in your report, again, always send the names of those who paid the money, so they may receive credit for the payment. As an account is being kept in all business transactions of all the temples, as it must go down in the history of the Moorish Science Temple of America, that the world may see what we did in those days. Now I'm asking you in obedience to our prophet to please send me the names of those that paid on this time, trusting you will continue to prosper under the guiding of the prophet. I hope it to remain your brother this morning, and the great principles, from the peace and love to all the good mothers. Apparently she was sending money in with no names on it. So the instructions that all the heads of the temples have is that you must send the names. Who keeps the books here? You already do that. So these forms that we have, that you have, Islam, the governors, the grand chiefs, and heads of all temples. My dear brothers and sisters, greetings to you and all local bodies in honor of our prophet, and to the interest and welfare of all concerned in the Moorish Science Temple of America. I am appealing to your good judgment for the cooperation to the unity, to the uplifting of all humanity. As Muslims, we are drifting as Christians towards the western night of time. We have left the true light of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. We have left the light of true love, true peace, seem to have found a way of our own, which will never do. And the end thereof is sorrow and doom. Let me appeal to you. Let me, in the name of the Lord and his prophet, invite you back while you may return. For how will you escape if you neglect this divine salvation? We are living in the last days of our chances for our Redeemer, and in the days that we now live of this dispensation. We are to act under the divine plan and preparing ourselves how to live in the presence of his divine spirit. Obedience to his laws and full cooperation in his divine law, one with another, with the other. And for each other, all to the glory and honor of our blessed Redeemer, that we shall reach the eternal bliss of our home of perfect peace. Because after we have known the law, we are to live by it, not from it. And to work against it is suicide or self-destruction. As a representative of my God and his prophet, I have tried in all ways possible under the 5 principles to bid for and work for divine peace and unity with all, for the mutual benefit of all. Although I have been sadly misused, misrepresented, and persecuted, and even prosecuted in the courts, yet I love you just the same. And only ask that you do not destroy your present and future chances for your earthly salvation and future happiness. And I further ask that you do not blame me for trying to keep my obligations that were made by him for me, you Ali, your and my Redeemer. And as a servant of this and the law, I desire the full cooperation of all in obedience to his laws and constitution. I will ask you, should I obey the divine prophet? Must I do what he said? My laws must be respected. When I ask you, should I obey the laws of the divine prophet? Must I do what so the will of Allah say, or do what man say? Speak out. He said, my laws must be respected, and my laws must live. Let us come together, then, Muslims, forget your personal differences, and unite ourselves in divine peace, and see that we do not lose again the golden opportunity that our God Allah has sent to us by his divine prophet, Du'ali, that we made for ourselves a great and independent nation, be to the glory and honor of our God and our Redeemer. He was so articulate, man. This brother, because he popped out some big words, he was so articulate. September 4th, 1930. This is from Charles Bay, Governor of Ohio. It's a long story on him. What's this? The Mason, Ohio started all this stuff. Zodiac Constitution.
Oh, you're talking about C.M. Bay.
Yeah. He was closely related to him that is doing everything. He might have been the same person. He also spent time on the chain. He was not a good supporter of Emilio. This Brother Emilio, Grand Chief, you're of 3/1930, was received and glad to hear from our Grand Chief. Now the Moors of Temple number 7 is all out of work here and has been for some time. But my Moors will send me if possible. My boss will send me if possible to come up to the convention. We might be able to come, and if not, we shall have our Moorish detective over in Chicago to watch over the Moors. This time, Johnson Hill has gone to kill the country.
Wow. Kirkman Bank.
Yeah, Kirkman Bank.
Wow.
Who is known as Allah-El, right?
Yes, Allah-El. Allah-El. Yeah.
Read that again. But my Moors will send me, if possible. We might be able to come, and if not, we shall have our Moorish detective over Chicago to watch over all the Moors. This time, Johnson Hill has gone to kill Brother Kirkman Bay about those papers. It has been sent to him, and they believe that you was correct with them. And then you cleared with them, because Brother Slave Bay and his gang came to your house and got you out of bed, and then you cleared him on the witness by testifying that Brother Slave Bay had no gun on him, and at the same time, while you truly knew that that was not telling the truth. In that case on him, because had you told the truth on him, why he would not be a free man today. And how come you and your wife visit Johnson Hill meetings from one of the 2 or 3 times a week? Those members know you. Me and my wife did not visit Johnson Hill meetings here in Cleveland. When he's supposed to be here by those people that are supposed to be his members, me and my wife keep the proper duality laws and all the rest of the laws and stay out of bad places. And your name didn't go out on the market. Now I can see why that the prophet says that I would have to save the movement. Now listen, I know all of it because I was told last year that Johnson and you had done sold out a movement for $7 million. Now he has your prophet. Now he has our prophet Quran and his laws, because it is for us to read our prophet laws in Ohio in his temple number 7. Now please remember that I have some other things that he has. And my charter, I am going to keep it. And I am the governor. Why? Because our prophet said so. And I did not ask him to say
This child is in Cleveland, Ohio.
It's Charles Bank. He's my. Yeah. We got to file on him this thing.
So he said he didn't put a hit out on BBM.
No, he said
He put it on the market. That's what he said.
yeah. That's how he was talking.
Yeah, put the hit out on Kirkman Bay.
Put a hit on him, like he did in my face.
Yeah. But that's true. Really is did not testify against Allah.
We need to boom. You know what I'm saying? And so you saying you good people, so we're not going to.
March 7, 1931. March 7, 1931. From Neely Hill to Carson Bay in Youngstown, Ohio. The arrival of Islam, my dear sister G. Carson Bay, the arrival of your letter this morning, which I found on my desk when I returned from the city, it found me very well and truly hope. When this returns to your hands, it will, find you doing the same. Yes, it is true. There's something wrong, and everything